How we can use critical line zeros as AND for quantum computer coding. We know that the coding in quantum computing will be very long and it will have too much data. So how we can ensure that the previous code has any relation with the next code? For that purpose, we can put an AND between the two codes. And the critical line zeros can be used for that purpose very perfectly. What I mean by that is that imagine the critical line. In critical line, it is famous for the presence of zeros in Riemann hypothesis. So we have the first zero, the second zero, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, and each zero will be followed by another zero, and each zero of this on this line has its own equation, has its own mathematical representation, and has its own graphical plots, and it is studied well now. So what I mean by that, these zeros can be used as an AND for quantum computing coding. Imagine that we have a very long code that ends at a point and followed by another piece of code which is the continuation of the previous code. So we can put the first zero on the line, we have critical line, the first zero in the critical line, first zero in critical line, as an AND here. The computer will know that this is not a part of the code, but it denotes that the next piece has a relation with the previous one. Then after you followed by too much coding, the second line will be applied, the second, after many coding, you will apply a second zero, then the third zero, according to their arrangement in the critical line. Till you end, there is no need to put a zero as an end. No. All that you need is just start again, put the first zero. So the first zero in the critical line will be an end to the previous part and a starting for the previous one, the second one. By this one, you can arrange the codes together without fear of mixing them. There will be no mixing, and you also can use these zeros as a nest, as a place to start any change in the previous or after it in the codings, because these zeros are critical line zeros. They have mathematical evaluation. Imagine that they have full names, so through them you can manipulate the code directly or indirectly, and or you can just make it a silent notation that it is the end of a code or a starting of the code. All that is that these zeros regarded as an AND, and whenever you started a new first zero, it means that we have a new line of code which has no relation with the previous one, and it will be the starting of a new code, and then you have the second zero, third zero, fourth zero, fifth zero, till you end the coding. Then you start again one. So there is no need for naming each piece of code to a name. So this will reduce the size of the memory that's needed for saving the data.